Yeah. So we know why we eat. We eat for energy, and we know that if we don't eat the right things necessarily, then we don't feel so great. The difficulty I think I find for people with Crohn's and colitis is that sometimes the right foods cause the wrong outcomes for them. Everything that we stick in our mouth, it has to go the whole way through from your mouth to your anus essentially, and part way through that it gets its nutrients digested, and that gets put out into whatever the body needs it to be it energy or be it vitamins and minerals into the system to create new life in your cells, or red blood cells and things like that.
Very science-based there, mate. Very, very science. I'm taking a step back.
And I think that's where we fall down a lot. We don't always get the best bit because we have that issue within our gastrointestinal tract. Generally speaking, from below the stomach to the anus, that's where we have most of our problems. And unfortunately for us as humans, that's where most of the usefulness in consuming food comes from.
Yeah, you're right in what you're saying, like with regards to the right foods, the good foods, beans, legumes, just the food, the goodness and stuff. There's only so much you can get from that. Sometimes I found it very difficult to beans. Massive, that would cause a lot of wind from my pouch, so I really struggle with stuff like that. We spoke about nuts in the past, didn't we? Nuts are such a great source of fats and proteins, and yet I couldn't eat nuts because I couldn't digest them. I would more than likely end up with a blockage. So as much as the goodness in that food is the correct food to be eating, obviously within the right amounts, I just couldn't, my body couldn't tolerate it. So it's all well and good looking at the guidelines of what we should be eating. However, with a J pouch, with a ileostomy, and whatever's going on, it's difficult to follow those guidelines, because you got to work out what's gonna work for you, really.
Yeah, and when you look at things like the Eat Well plate and stuff, it's got, it's good advice. I'm not saying that it's bad advice. You're looking at a balance of carbs, proteins, fats, and vitamins and minerals. But yeah, it's just that understanding that some of those aren't going to fit for us. And I think one of the crazy things I noticed, certainly whenever I moved to a ileostomy, and then now that I've got a J pouch, it's kind of similar, except I can't play with it. Yeah. It's a note to myself from my past. But yeah, so whenever I used to eat food that my body didn't necessarily have the time to digest properly, like baby sweet corns and whatnot, or peas, and it would just, I would feel it coming out of my ileostomy, and it wasn't actually obviously the intestine that I could feel it. It was coming through where the hole was.
Yeah.
The pressure around the sort of where the hole was is pumping that out. They're like, oh, what's that? And I look at it, and it's like literally an entire baby sweet corn.
How it's gone in is exactly how it comes back.
Baked beans, the lot coming straight out. The way it went in the way, it's just like,
beans,
I think tonight, after the last couple of weeks, is one of the first times I've actually sat down in a while and consciously chewed my food.
Yeah.
To the nth degree, because there was so many. Again, it's one of those things, like, I know that I need lots of dark green vegetables. It's a good source of iron, amongst other vitamins and minerals. But if I don't chew it, I'm not going to get anything from it, because it's not in my system as long. Well, maybe that's misinterpretation from myself, but because I see it coming out pretty much as it went in, I'm going.
Like clockwork, I could guarantee within 2 hours later, what's gone in is coming back out, and that just shows how quick that is going through your body. So in order for your body to absorb that, it's a lot more difficult. But like you said, it's getting the right foods in, but understanding how that's going to react with your body. Like what were we talking about? Like, again, with the sweet corn, with any kind of really shiny skins, such as peppers. Again, I found that difficult to process with a J pouch, very difficult to get through the gut. And then I would get some griping, knowing that my bowel, what I've got left of the bowel, was actually working really hard to try and get that through my body. And sometimes I could feel that I had a partial blockage coming on.
Yeah.
So that was difficult, because all these colourful, nutrient-rich foods that I really want to get in my body in order to kind of get most out of what my training and just health, really. I was struggling to digest and actually struggling to get in my body. Now, you could say well, supplement that with vitamins, which is a great idea. But ideally, you really want to get everything from what you can from food. Does that make sense? From solid foods rather than supplement vitamins. But if you have to, I mean, I've had to take vitamins now, multivitamins. I don't take them every day per se, mainly because I forget. But you can definitely tell a difference in your energy levels and your kind of alertness when I've taken some vitamins.
Yeah, I think you've hit the nail on the head as far as the nutrition side of things goes. I think as a population, not just in Crohn's colitis, I think we all have a very rudimental understanding of what we should eat.
Yeah.
And certainly we know that having a chippy every night isn't going to be good for us. But like you've just alluded to, foods that are normally best for us, ironically, seem to have significant side effects that make people with Crohn's colitis exceptionally uncomfortable. So like I know if you consume spinach or, like you're saying, legumes and things like that, being gassy is really not good. But yeah, I think we do suffer from a deficiency in iron and vitamin B12 and vitamin D because of these things, and sometimes supplementing is the best way, if not the only way, that you're going to be able to keep yourself topped up on those things. And that's more just thinking about people for Crohn's and colitis, certainly trying to keep them top of their iron and B12, because it's such a difficult thing to do. But let me rephrase that. There is no one fix fits all.
One size fits all.
There's no one size fits all when it comes to diet and nutrition, and you'll have one guy that swears by paleo, you'll have another guy that has some anti-inflammatory diet that cuts out carbs, you'll have another guy that's like fat only, and that might work for them, but it may not work for you. So you got to think in the micro and in the macro, is that sustainable in the macro, and in the micro, is that causing you a hell of a lot of disruption? I mean, I tried to have a low carb, high fat sort of balanced diet for a while. I couldn't handle it because without the carbs in there, and I could not eat enough cauliflower to take over what a slice of bread would do. The level of acidity in my system was quite high because without a large intestine, we're not able to absorb the essentially the bile that comes out of your stomach. So that will leak into your small intestine, but by the time it gets into the large intestine and by the time it gets to a normal person's rectum, it's generally speaking nullified. That's not the case whenever you've got a J pouch or an ileostomy. So those are all things, but different people. That's what I'm saying. That didn't work for me, but it could work for somebody else. So definitely experiment. And like John's already alluded to, there's a website for people like us in the UK called Crohn's and Colitis UK. And equally, there are websites in America. One that I know of is Crohn's Colitis Foundation. I believe that they all talk to each other and generally have a consensus on the stuff that they pump out in terms of advice. And it's really good. There's loads of PDF files on there or leaflets that give you lots of different bits and pieces and actually quite in-depth information, and links it on to other research and other places that you can go and find for information. So yeah, seek that out, have a look, keep a diary, but most of all, I want people to stop feeling like they're stuck. I don't want people to feel like they're stuck and feel like there's no way out. There's always a way out, and there's always something that we can do, and just try and enjoy it. Try and enjoy the small things. That's what I'm trying to do as best I can. We've both got kids, and there's some days that they drive us up the wall. It's realizing that child's fit and healthy, and actually, given what we've been through, we're still here to enjoy them. So that's
absolutely, yeah. That's a good point.
Well, I think that takes us off from this episode.
Absolutely.